Want to level up your Notion pages into a more fully functional website or app? The latest Notion Sites update has been a huge improvement, but if you're looking to have a website or app that looks less like Notion with more customization options and features, it's still necessary to use third-party solutions. In this video, I wanted to introduce you to 5 different website and app creation tools that can transform your Notion pages and databases. I'll be covering Arco, Super, Bullet, NotionApps, and Softr. If you find this video useful, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. The first tool I wanted to introduce you all to is called Arco, who kindly sponsored today's video. I'm super excited to show this to you all because Arco uses the power of AI to automatically generate your Notion site into a website that looks and feels not like Notion, but something more creative and professional. So if we, for example, take this portfolio website, I take the link and put it into Arco, click enter, it's going to generate a website using AI. So here we can see a page that Arco has designed. It looks very nice and very different from Notion's original one that we had here. This is such a nice way to sort of transform your Notion into something else. So let's say that we want to change the text. We can add our own text here, add more. The other thing you can do if you want to change the colors, for example, is you could click here, highlight it, and then we can say change to purple and then enter. So not everything that you add from the Notion site is going to end up successfully in Arco, so you will have to do a little bit of tweaking. So if we click to replace image, I can basically add the image I had in my Notion page here. The other cool thing is these show up here. This is great because you can see your Notion Gallery View database reflected in Arco. One thing to note is that they currently only support single-page functionality, but they are actively developing multi-page and multi-level navigation features. For now, I would recommend generating one-page designs, but be on the lookout for these new features coming soon. The other thing is if you want to adjust these into different links so that it links to outside resources, you can do so by highlighting this and then adding the link like this and then hit enter. So now if I publish this and go here, you can see that it's successfully redirected to google.com, which is the one that I added. So you can add your own links that way. The other thing I wanted to show is that you can change the custom domain names. The original is very long like this, so you can change it something to Jane Smith Portfolio and click enter. And now you have this new link that looks nicer as well. And now you pretty much have a website. So I think this is a really cool thing to play around with. For now, Arco is completely free to try. I would highly recommend you just to play around with it, see if you can make something work out of this, see what kinds of prompts you can add. There's actually a lot you can do if you highlight this and then add different things. In that way, it's very fun that you don't have to really worry about learning how each thing works, how to add the spacing, colors, all these things. You can literally just highlight this and just say, turn this into black, purple. This is one of the fastest ways I've seen that you can transform your Notion site into something else like this. So I highly recommend you to just try it out. The link to try Arco is in the description below. The next tool I wanted to share with you all is called Super. Super has been around for a while and it's one of the leading tools for creating websites from Notion, especially before the Notion Sites update. It was really one of the best tools for transforming your Notion page into a more customizable website. Even now, after the Notion Sites updates, there's so many features that are still missing that you might want to have in a website. Just like with Arco, I wanted to first start by just creating a site from scratch and what that would look like. So you would just click Create Site. You can add a site name. So in this case, this is going to be Jane Smith Portfolio. I just need to add the Notion share URL. So I'm going to copy this one, paste it in, create site. And now we basically have this here. So if I go here, you can see like a demo version. And basically all of this looks pretty much the same as it does here. So it's not that much different if you just strictly use that Notion site to put it into Super. But the magic with Super really lies in its customization options. So if we go to settings here, you can see all of these. There's nothing like this in Notion sites, like the site language. Then we have domains. Then you can go to pages. And this is really cool because with pages, you can really lay out the page structure here, which you can't really do with Notion. So this is really cool. Then there's the SEO features. So you can see here. And then there's the design. And the design is really fun because you can choose so many colors with Super. So basically you can choose a palette like neutral and so on, minty. And these are all things you can't really do inside of Notion itself, especially to change the color of that background like that. Also, you can change very specific things like the main page text colors, and you can use hex codes to do this, which gives you a huge number of possibilities. If we go to navigation, then another exciting thing is that with Notion sites, you don't really get to have footer links, which is why I added these to the portfolio template here. But if you're using something like Super, I would get rid of this, and then you could add the special footer where you can actually have icons for your social media and so on. So this is also a really great way to add even more customization that traditional websites tend to have. Next, if we go to code, you can add your custom code here that can really change the look of your Notion site in a pretty impactful way. I'll show you some templates later where you can see what Super can do with this custom code. And then we have options. This is also really exciting that you can't do necessarily natively in Notion. So you can, for example, show or disable properties on database pages. That's something that could confuse people who are not used to Notion and suddenly see a website with database properties and things like that. Then there's also database views, site search, theme toggle, layout side panel, and all these things that you can add as an option to your Super site. Finally, there's also files and analytics here, but basically this allows you a lot of customization even in the free plan. I do want to talk a bit about what you get if you do the upgrade. So here, if we go to templates, you can see some of these custom code templates. So for example, this botanical, you can see that it looks quite different from what Notion could normally achieve. I think that this is a really good solution to making your Notion sites a little bit more different and professional. The other thing I wanted to show is the pricing. So basically you can create unlimited websites free. So I would recommend you just to check it out if you're interested in this. If you pay $16 a month, you can get things like password protected pages, which really add an additional layer to the website, especially if you're doing things with clients or you want to lock certain parts of your website, you could do that. In this way, I think Super is a really good combination of easy to use with a lot of customization possibilities. You still do need to do quite a lot of setup to sort of achieve what you need to do. And one other thing that I want to share is that one thing that's really good about having your Notion as your website is just that it's so easy to edit it. So if you want to edit any text, you can just go in here and do things here, as opposed to a lot of website tools that are not using Notion. You might have to use a really clunky user interface just to edit certain things. So in that way, Super is a really good option. So the next tool I wanted to share with you all is called Bullet. Bullet is pretty similar to Super in the way of what it can do, but it is a different experience. So I just wanted to showcase that for you. So let's go ahead and start from scratch, just like we did with the other tools. We're going to click start from scratch. You can call your site something. So I'm going to call it Jane Smith Portfolio. Then we'll put the public Notion URL of the page like this and then create. So now you can see the website. The main thing you'll notice is all of the pages structure are laid out here already. So you can go to each page and see exactly how the page structure looks like. What's cool is if you want to micro sort of edit it, you can click and add things here. So you can change really small details by clicking each of the blocks like this. which kind of reminds me of, for example, in WordPress with Elementor, you can do something like this. So I think this is really cool that you can really adjust these things like this in this format. The next thing you can do is click theme. So you can change sort of the general colors, change all of these. You can even set different colors for different Notion colors. And there's also typography. You can change different fonts. This is all something really fun that you can do because in Notion, obviously can't really change the fonts. So there's a lot of fonts here. Then you can also change font sizes in the typography. You can change the layout. These you can do as well. Change all of these. Then you can also change the database views. You can either turn off show database pages. You can do things here as well for gallery view. Then there's also callout options, of course, the nav bar and footer. And then you can adjust the blog as well. And just like with the super, you can also do things like add custom code. And there's also other kinds of settings. So I think Bullet is also a really good option if you want to try this out. So if you're interested in Bullet, here's what the pricing looks like. I would say if you choose the personal version, it's definitely cheaper than Super. And if you have the free version, you can just start for free. So that's really nice that you don't need to necessarily pay anything to just try out Bullet and see what you think. I think that Bullet is also a really good option for people looking to transform their Notion into something a little bit more feature rich. The next tool I wanted to share with you all is called NotionApps. This is a little bit different from website creation, but it's still a really great way to share your Notion databases online. And what's cool about apps is that you can basically do things like restrict user access. It has a better mobile usability as well as being able to interact with it. So you can do things like add tasks and edit things to that database and have it sync. So in this case, I have NotionApps open and I just wanted to showcase what it can do by just using an example where I add a task tracker that would be used in a team setting. So if I go to app templates and I just chose task tracker, you can also connect it to any kind of database that you have, but you'll have to do a lot more configuration. So I'm just going to choose task tracker just to show you how that works. Basically, it's going to be like this. You can open it up, edit the task, save it, and you'll see all of your active tasks and you'll see your team in here as well. So it's very simple, but looks like it would be really useful as well. What we're going to do is to go to clone app. I've already downloaded this task tracker template, but basically it's going to show you this, that you can duplicate it into your own workspace. So you can just immediately get started with using it. Once you have that, you can go to next and connect Notion template. And you'll select the pages you want to add. So here we can add the one that's in private task tracker, allow access. And now it has access to the task tracker inside of my workspace. Now it's successfully authorized, so I can go to next. Now I can choose the correct Notion template. So now I see the task tracker here. So I can click this one, clone app. And now I see the live preview. You can see this builder where you can adjust certain things. You can check the databases, users, and so on. So here you can also see the responsive preview. You can publish the app. So this is very simple in the sense that it's pretty easy to get started with NotionApps. The interface is not the most fancy thing you might see, but I think this is really good, simple way to create an app using Notion. So one of the cool things about NotionApps is that it's really easy to restrict access to the app based on who is logged in. So in the case of this task tracker, it's really easy to do that because we have this handy template that's already pretty much set up for you. So we have the team here, and then you can see that I'm only assigned to 3 of them for projects and to these for the tasks. So if you want to hide this information from other team members who aren't assigned to this, it's really easy to do that. So if we go here and go to users, you can set restrictions. So for example, the tasks are restricted to whoever it's assigned to and the projects as well. The only thing that's not restricted is that you can see the team information. So if I hit publish, I can now check the new app, and you'll notice that all projects, you only see the ones assigned to you. That you can see active tasks, which are the ones assigned to me as well, and then you'll see the team. So for active tasks, if I want to now edit this, it's really easy to do that. Let's say that I want to edit this. I can hit update. You can see that it's already changed here. If we go to the database, you'll also notice it's changed here. So it's really syncing in a way that works really well. If we go here, you can see this. So what if you want to add new projects, new tasks through the app? You can also do that as well. So if we go to screens here, and inside of projects, you want to add a button where you can add a new project. You can click this one so that you can see this plus sign. Then we can click here so that you can see exactly what kinds of things you can edit when you do add the new projects, and you can edit all of your inputs. So I think this is a really user-friendly way to create apps using Notion. It's not the most fancy looking app, but I think it's really useful and could be really functional. So I highly encourage you to check it out. So if you're interested in NotionApps, I also wanted to just briefly cover the pricing. So here we can see that you can basically start for free. Feel free to try it out. There are a lot of restrictions here. So if you're actually using it, you might need to upgrade it to something where there's more database pages, but at least until 500, you can use it. After that, it's basically scales upward like this. It also depends on how many users you have as well. So that's kind of the main thing with NotionApps. The next tool I wanted to introduce you to is called Softr. Softr has a lot of integrations with other tools, not just Notion. I think that it's also a really good way to create apps through Notion databases. But unlike NotionApps, it's actually designed for various platforms like Google Sheets and all kinds of things. So if I, for example, click on this one, which is a client portal, you can actually connect your source to many different things. So here it's connected to Notion, but you could connect it to everything here. So there's Airtable and all kinds of things. So in that sense, it's a very versatile tool. With the case of using Notion, it could be pretty overwhelming for people who haven't used this before to get started. They do have templates that you can start with, and in this case, this is one of the templates. But what's really cool is that once you have the template, and for example, this is connected to a project's database, and I can show you the project database. So here is the database that I connected to Softr to showcase projects. If we click it open, you can see client email, cover image, description, date, quote, and so on. What you can do is kind of map out those properties into this app. So you can go to content, and basically right now we only show the cover image and name. And if we click it, you can see that the content comes from the name of that database source. And another thing that's cool is if we go to source, you can basically show the items that match conditions. So if the client email is email, then it's going to show this project. So if I add another project here, new project, but this one doesn't have any client emails, when we do log in as olivia@example.com, we should only see this particular one. So if we now go to preview, and I'm going to preview as a particular user, in this case it is going to be Olivia Brown, then you can see that we don't see the other project which doesn't have a user here. So the cool thing about Softr is that you can build pretty complex client portals. You can even do things like invoices, tasks, and all these things, and they can all look different depending on the type of user. Another cool thing is that something that Notion really lacks is the ability to hide certain properties that you don't want to show in the client-facing portals. So for example, here we only see the cover image and the name. You don't need to showcase everything that's in this database that you might want to keep internally, like the quote or any other notes about that project that you don't want that client to see. You can hide that. So I think this is a really great tool if you're looking for a really feature-rich solution for client portals, things where you want some kind of app to manage your databases. It is a little bit less user-friendly than NotionApps, so you might need to take some more time to learn it. But as you can see, there's a lot of things that you can customize, a lot of settings with the users, even notifications. So you can also see the templates for invitations, resetting passwords, all of these things. So I think Softr has a lot going for it, but it does take some time to build. And if you do build it though, I think that it could be a great solution for some people. So if you're interested in Softr's pricing, it goes from anywhere from free, one published app, 10 app users, 2 user groups, and things like that. So you can basically start out for free. Notion's included here as well. So you can just try it out and see if you might like it. Then there's also basic professional business all the way to enterprise. So I think Softr is really used to working with big companies. So if you're running a business, this might be also a great solution for you, but you just might need more help to set it up than other solutions. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this can help you choose which third-party tools you should try for website and app creation using Notion. There's definitely more tools than I was able to cover in this video, so if you have any recommendations or experience with these tools, feel free to comment below, and I hope to see you all in the next video.